Check this out. It's cool to see the bugs light up with the UV light. But anyways, got a bunch of voids to fill. There's our materials. This is Steve with Blackfly. Hope everybody is doing wonderful. We're gonna whip up a little Baetis pattern. Already tied a couple, but let's get right into it. So in the vise we got a Hannock 450 BL, size 14 barbless. 450s are really good. I like them a lot. And for the slotted tungsten bead, we've got a Firehole Stones slotted tungsten and the Martini. This is a 5/32 or 4/0. We want this thing to bomb. It's gonna get down quick. So for our thread, we're going with the 70 denier ultra thread and the olive. Build up just a little down behind that bead, just to kind of seed it. Wrap back to the bend. First thing we're going to tie in is some ultra thread in the 210 denier in the fluorescent fire orange. I like this. You can also use Glow Bright, but I really don't see too much of a difference between the 210 denier and the Glow Bright. So that's just what I'm using. You get a little bit more for your money. And so I'm gonna double this over. I'm gonna fold it. I'm gonna advance my thread forward. So then we doubled that over, and then we're gonna double it over again. So essentially there's gonna be 4 strands. So I can hold on to that. Now that looks like a lot, but you have to remember this is just, it's just UTC, so it actually flattens out real nice. So you don't end up with any bumps in the body. Right back to our thread ended. And we're just gonna, the way I gauge this is I put the scissors against the barb and then I just trim it. And you can see how that fluffs out. Similar to the Glow Bright. So now I'm just gonna wrap my thread forward and build up just a little bit of a taper. I'll stop like right there. Next we're going to take some chartreuse UTC wire in small. Just going to stick that inside the bead there. And so I like to wrap on the side of the shank so it doesn't affect the profile taper of the body. Okay, and now we're going to take some peacock dubbing. We're going to use that olive color, similar to the head. It's kind of an olive, and it's got a little bit of flash in it. And pull. We're just going to spin up a little dubbing rope, and I'm starting thin at the back and kind of getting thicker just to build a little tiny bit of a taper. Okay, and bring my thread back. So our dubbing wraps start towards the back. And we'll just bring this forward. Spin that a little more. And that's good. Now we're going to counter wrap our wire. So we're going to wrap it the opposite of our thread. Usually comes out to about 4 wraps. If you want to, what this wire does is it just gives the fly some segmentation, the body some segmentation, and it adds some durability. So we're going to go ahead and capture the wire, keep tension on our thread. So I'm using medium, so I get a couple wraps in front and behind. And we will just bend this off and spin it. Helps if you bend it back and forth. Okay, so now we're just gonna put our finger through there and we're gonna create a dubbing loop. So you wanna make sure you go around it a couple times. I don't have much room in front of my camera. I like to go around it 2 times and then wrap it again just to secure that loop. And then we're going to take, this is a, let's see if we can get that in. This is a Loon dubbing spinner. And so you just put the hook, you hook your thread like that. And let that hang for a second. Now we're going to get some CDC. This is Superfly and Olive. I'm really liking the Trout Hunter, but I gotta use up my Superfly. This Superfly is good, but the Trout Hunter just seems a little better. We're gonna take 1 olive CDC feather and we're gonna use half of this feather. So we're gonna take the CDC and we're gonna preen those fibers as straight as I can get them. I'm gonna take my little clip here and I'm gonna clip the CDC like that. And grab my fine point scissors, and then we're going to take and we're going to trim this one side of the feather. And I don't really care about the back of that. So you should have your CDC in a clamp like this, and then we can tie another fly with the other half. So the next step, we take our dubbing loop and we open that loop up. So we're going to take it, we're going to insert the clamp at the starting at top. And then once we've got it inside that loop, I'm going to pull tension. Now I'm pulling tight and I'm going to open the clamp and release. So it's like this. So now we need to spin it. Now we've spun it. Got a little extra thread there. It won't hurt nothing. Okay, so before I start to wrap the CDC, I'm gonna moisten my fingers, and then I'm just going to preen CDC fibers back. Give that a couple wraps, nice and buggy. Put that forward and we will secure it. A couple wraps behind, a couple wraps in front. Go in here with our fine point scissors and we're going to just trim that loop right off. And I'm going to take and just preen some of these fibers, as many as I can get. Just give it 1 or 2 wraps. Okay, so next, to create some contrast, I'm going to add some more peacock dub, and then we're going to add some of that black. Just want a tiny bit to create some contrast. I'm going to go ahead and give this a couple wraps. See how that black just contrasts, it's kind of nice. Take our whip finish tool here. Give it 7 wraps just to give it another point of contrast. Go ahead and trim our thread. Where is that? Can't see that with my eyes, but you sure can on the macro. I'm just going to push the CDC feathers back. If there's any real long stragglers, I'll just come in here and pick them off. And the CDC, the reason I love CDC, it holds an air bubble to create a lifelike look, and it has a lot of movement in the water. I'm going to show you what it looks like in the water, but first I'm going to give it a drop of Loon. Just going to put a little dab behind the head there and let it soak into the thread. UV light and hit it. Just cure it. Now let's take a look at it and see what it looks like in the water. Got it tied to some wire here. Drop it in the water. Bloop. And this is how the fly will ride. It will ride inverted. Pull it out of the water. It looks... And that CDC will trap air bubbles. Looks good. I like to tie them in different sizes. I usually tie them in a 4, a 3/0, and a 2/0. It covers my needs or anywhere close to that variation. But anyways, guys, tie some up and fish them. This is Steve from Black Fly signing out. I'll see you guys on the next episode.